Hi, I'm Sherry, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I thought we would do something really fun and visit for a little bit. I'm going to try a new thing. I'm going to try either Sunday or Monday, post a video with a challenge in it, and then on Friday or Saturday, I will post the result of the challenge and try to post a tutorial along with it. I think I can do this, and I'm excited about it, the beginning of this new series, and I'm not going to do this for a long time, but I thought this would be really fun for everybody, and I'm definitely going to need a lot of help, but I'm going to call it What's in That Tote. And what it is I was donated, someone gave me 7 totes of items, and my son helped me so I wouldn't know everything in the totes. He went through, I helped a little bit, so I've seen a few of the things, but I will have no idea what is in the tote that I'm going to open, because he went and randomized the items in that tote, because I didn't want to have a series where everything I would pull out would be like a jean, another pair of jeans, another pair of jeans. I wanted it to be more variable than that. So I think I've got it all set up. We're gonna try this, but I'm kind of terrified actually, because some of the things that I briefly saw was very silky, and I don't usually work with that type of fabric, and a lot of pants, jeans, just all kinds of things, and I didn't get to see everything in it, but so I have no idea. Plus my son Hunter is very ornery, so he's probably going to pick the hardest pieces in the lot. So I don't know how this is going to go. I'm going to give it my best shot. I think it was going to be a lot of fun for everybody. I've told him worst case scenario, I'll make a scrunchie. So if it shows up as a scrunchie at the end product, you'll know that I ran flat of ideas. So here's how the game works. I can use anything in my studio with it, but I have to use it somewhere in the upcycle, or as a main piece is fine, but it can also just be a piece of the upcycle. So that will give me some flexibility, because some of the items I saw were children's, and I don't usually do children's clothing, but I could use the fabric from the children's clothing. And there was a huge variety of types of fabric in there. So this is going to be really fun. So welcome to the very first episode of What's in That Tote. And we're going to do that. But before I do that, I also, in this session on Sunday, Monday, we're going to do a little bit of just chatting. So you can grab a cup of tea, something, your favorite beverage. We'll go ahead and chat for a minute, and then I'm going to do the tote thing, and then we'll come back and chat about what we found and what we think we might be able to do with it. So yeah, let's get into it. This is going to be fun. So the first thing I thought we would do is just talk a little bit about some of the funny sewing projects. You know, I would love to hear some of your guys' funny sewing projects. One of them that came to my mind today, and I thought I'm going to include that in my video, was I think I was 14, somewhere 14, and I've been watching my mom make all these knit shirts. Like, she was putting the collars in them. It looks so easy. And if you've worked with knit, you'll know what I'm saying. Knit is not necessarily easy, especially putting in collars and things. And I had this piece of fabric, which wasn't from the scrap bin I'd asked permission to use. Really pumped myself up that I was going to make this beautiful shirt for myself. And the collar was wrong, so I cut it out. I tried to put another one in, and it was wrong again. And I tried to put another one. By the time my last try, the collar was like out here, like this. Oh, I hit my mic. Hopefully I didn't mess things up. I was like out here, and I was so mad. This was like several hours into it. I was always rather a quick-tempered child anyways. And I can remember grabbing that shirt up. I don't remember if I said any profane words. I didn't have a big vocabulary at the time. We were raised quite reserved, but I was very angry. I probably said a couple, and I chucked that thing behind the trash can. I didn't even give it the honor of the trash can. I threw it across the sewing room. I was so mad. I was thinking of how, we have successes and we have failures. That was probably my most dramatic sewing failure as a sewist. So, yeah, I was chuckling about that one today. I was out working in the garden, this year's it's so warm already. I can't believe how warm it is here. I live in Missouri, in the United States, and it's what I want to say it's February 26th, I think, today that I'm making this, and I'm going to try to put it up today as well. But I've got daffodils blooming, and my forsythia, I've got like 100-foot row of forsythia bushes. They're all going to bloom. And I know good and well, I looked at the weather forecast, it's supposed to get cold again. So I can't imagine if you had a peach orchard or something, you'd probably lose everything. We usually do lose our plums and peaches, but the apples and pears usually do okay. But last year was the first year I lost most of my blueberries. I've never had that happen before, so... But the weather's a little wonky everywhere, but boy, it's nice today. I went out and I've got a little solar greenhouse, and I went out there, and it's not totally designed to work and grow food. I've got a hammock stretched up in it. It's so lovely to go out in the middle of like snow, when there's snow on the ground. If there's sun, that little greenhouse, I have to open the doors, it'll get too hot. It's insulated on the roof and the back walls and part of the side walls. So when the sun comes out, like, it can get hot fast. I have to be really careful. If the sun's shining usually by noon or 1 o'clock, I've got to open. It's got doors on the end. And it's an upcycle. I'll show it to you guys sometimes. It's kind of a sad looking little thing. It's pretty much made out of upcycled materials for the foundations, like railroad ties, old screen doors I got from somewhere. And I even built one of the doors, but it's pretty much an upcycle project itself, but it works good. And it's old. It's getting pretty old. I think it's going on maybe 20 years now. I don't know, but I keep replacing little pieces here and there. I didn't think it would even last this long, and it just keeps going. So I was like, wow, that's a good accident. So, but I was out there today, and it's crazy. We've got flowers starting to bloom. My willow trees are getting leaves already, and it's at least a month too early for that. I think the earliest I can remember my mom planting potatoes was March, like the middle of March. And I went ahead and got some of those fabric pots, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to try growing potatoes in them this year, and I don't know how that's going to work. So I want to be able to dump them out easier, and so that's going to be an experiment this year. And I don't want it to be heavy mix, so I spent yesterday gathering up leaves, and I've got one of those. I told my son it's called Flowtron. It sounds like some kind of sci-fi thing, but you dump leaves in it and it chops them up and drops them down into like I set mine right on top of a trash can. And so I'm going to try to do a 50-50 mix of that. So I spend a good portion of my time outside. I really love the outdoors, but I love upcycling and I like to upcycle all kinds of things, not just clothing. Like, I like to upcycle and reuse things. Like in my garden, I reuse deep freezes and, things for container growing. I really love that. I try to grow. We've got really rocky heavy clay soils here, so I like to garden a lot in raised type beds, but they can dry out really fast, and I did my whole garden in wood beds, and I just literally had ants everywhere. You couldn't sit down and weed anything without being rushed with a whole, do you call them herds? What do you call a group of ants? They would just crawl all over my arms. I'd be going like this, trying to get them off. So I'm getting rid of a lot of my wood and going to like metal and metal type beds, like old horse tanks, old refrigerators, anything like that I can find. And I usually try to not spend a lot of money on my garden. To me, that defeats the purpose of gardening. You might as well go buy organic produce at the stand if you spend a lot of money on the garden. So I try to do a lot of shortcuts. I try to save a lot of my own seeds and things like that. It's fun. It's just like, you know, that's what really got me interested in upcycling too, because it's earth friendly. You feel good when you do it. Something that somebody would throw away, something they wouldn't think had any value, and yet here you are, you take it and you turn it into a beautiful item that somebody wears and cherishes. It feels really good to do that, and that's one of the things I really like about upcycling. And I kind of look at, I don't know, maybe everything in a way in my life that way. I try to see the good in everything. I try to see the upside in everything and try to see, a glass half full instead of half empty. Some of the things I've learned is to save money is to ask myself, do I really need that? Is that something I really need, or is that going to become a burden to me later on? And to think about it a little bit before I actually get it. Because I'd rather not suffer the guilt of it later and have actually needed the item to use, it's just me. It's just how I've grown over the years. I didn't start out that way at all. I was like any typical kid, who spent their money as fast as they could get it. But later on, as I've grown and my kids have grown, I'm like, I don't need, when you got a bunch of little kids, you're like, I gotta have a lot of toys. I gotta have a lot of, things for the home. You're a mom for your household, and you want to make it pretty. You want everybody to be happy. You want a beautiful yard. You're just trying to make a beautiful home, a beautiful, peaceful place for everybody to be. But as I've gotten older, I was like, I removed a bunch of my flower beds. I'm like, and ask myself better questions instead of like, well, how many, I think I said this before, instead of how many flowers do I want to see, I'm like, how many flower beds do I want to weed? Just asking myself better questions and trying to get better, a better path. And all that comes with time. And we're not given that much time on this earth anyway. So let's get to the tote thing. And then let's talk about what we could do with this weird item that I'm going to pull out of this tote. I have no idea what it is. I'm kind of scared. And so let's do it. Okay. I am really not sure about this. I don't want to look at it because I don't want to see the other things in it. Let me see how I can do this. I guess I'm going to just crack it open and reach in on this side. Let's see here, like this. Okay, first thing I grabbed is, oh my gosh, it is a purple, very bright purple sweater cardigan. What it looks like. Let me bring you a little bit closer here. Okay, so here it is. Here's what we have. It's a very nice quality garment. It doesn't look too worn. It's got some cute features to it. I've got cute pieces, but it's a children's size. It is a 10-12. And North Crest, whatever brand that would be. And I do like that the knitting on it is fairly thick, so I can sew that onto something. If you get a real loose like this and you try to sew that, a lot of times you'll get pulling away, at least I do. So that's interesting. And let's look at the back side. Now I can already see there are different ways that maybe I could go with this. And even this would make a cute headband. But you could have made those fingerless gloves. What else could you do with it? I'd love to hear what everybody else thinks they might do with it. It is a medium to heavy weight. So whatever I use it on, it's not going to be like in a lightweight spring type garment. I will have to use it in something probably more fall and winter. And So yeah, I'm not going to be able to cut it off and use it as a tunic, though. I don't think. I might be able to come down here and then build onto it, but it's split open. So I'll probably use it in pieces. And that must have been a button that came off or something. So, okay, let me know what you think you would do with it. Any ideas you might have. And then we'll see what the finished product. I'll probably try to have something made out of it to show you on Friday or Saturday. And also a tutorial on, it won't be on this probably, unless it's interesting enough. But I will probably do the tutorial on something else. This week I'm thinking to do one called the perfect tunic. Here, let me turn the camera around and I will tell you. This is the tunic I was talking about. It's this one's long, that's why I call it a tunic, but I also make these as tank tops. Some people have called this the perfect tank. And the reason why I think that she called it that, and it got that name, I let the name stick with it, is that this is very stretchy. So, and it's very forgiving, and you can layer it, and you can do all kinds of things with it. But when you bend over, it doesn't, if you get this where it's at least a little snug, it's not revealing. And so you've got, it's very cool because you've got your front and your back of your shoulders. Air can go all the way around, but yet you've got the privacy of the being able to bend over and do things of the elastic. And I'll show you how I make these. I have a little pattern that I made, and it's very simple, but the thing is, I use this pattern for different builds. The simple pattern, I'll show it to you so you can make yourself one in the tutorial. But I started making these using the men's shirts, the center part of the men's shirts. So you can also make them with upcycled, this is upcycled fabric, but you can make it with, let's say you see some curtains or sheets or whatever. You can make them out of a lot of different types of upcycled materials. This one does have some new materials in it as well. So I believe this is upcycled clothing, this here, and then this is fabric and fabric. So okay. I can't wait to show you guys how I make that this week, and then what we do with that purple sweater. So thanks for tuning in, you guys. And if you made it this far, this might be a little bit longer of a video, but I thought this would be a lot of fun. We'd play games and make something fun. So I'll see you on Friday or Saturday, Lord willing. What did they used to say? If the creeks don't rise. I'm gonna try. If I'm late, it'll just come back around. Just wait for me. I'll get there eventually. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you so much for watching my videos, for liking and sharing and subscribing and stuff, because it really helps me out. You're all such a blessing. Thank you, and until next time, happy sewing.